Welcome to the second episode of Series 83, everyone. This month we have Daniel Kwan with us to make characters for Wandering Blades, a brand new action-packed wuxia RPG that is kickstarting all this month. This episode, we finished creating our characters, including some dramatic relationships and backstory for our people. But before we get to all of that, we do have some calls to action coming up after the show. Here's what to expect. You can join us here where we will have more details about the Wandering Blades Kickstarter, our normal Patreon information, as well as patron thank yous. With all of that out of the way, enjoy the show, everyone. On the last episode of Character Creation Cast, Daniel was creating a character named Fui, Amelia was creating a character named Feng Yao, and I was creating a character named Singing Edge. We're picking up right where we left off last time. Enjoy.
Okay, so now that we've picked a name, we're going to pick a class.
Okay.
So in this game, and we're going to start at level 1. There are only 5 levels in this game because, again, I wanted to structure it around either like a one-shot or maybe up to 5 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll talk about advancement later.
Yeah.
So there are 3 classes. The Wuxia, who is, you spell it Youxia, who is like a knight errant. You're like a wandering hero who has their own like personal code of conduct. Wuxia are masters of like weapons and martial arts techniques.
Mm-hmm.
There's the outlaw. And the outlaw is kind of like a scoundrel with a notorious reputation who has mastery of really unlawful skills.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the scholar, and that's somebody who's dedicated their life to intellectual pursuits, either for like, philosophical reasons or for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really neat about this is that your character concepts of like, Singing Edge, somebody who has like a blade that like kind of like every time you like, maybe you whip the blood off of it, it reverberates and it makes a sound. And the sound of your sword actually marks the end of a contract, could make them an assassin. Or like for the detective, Amelia, for Feng Yao, you could be a scholar detective, or you could be like an outlaw, somebody who maybe doesn't have like an agency, but you solve problems for people. Maybe you find people for others.
Yeah.
And that could fit in with a detective as well. Or you could even be a Wuxia who's like a master of weaponry. You grew up in a temple and maybe your temple was destroyed and you make money by solving problems for others as a detective. And so your character concepts aren't going to lock you in to one particular class. And you can pick a play style instead when you choose a class. So basically we have the Wuxia, which is like pure combat for the most part, the outlaw, which is like in the middle, and then the scholar, which could be like a role play heavy character or one who has some combat skills.
I think I'm going to go with scholar just because I know who I am as a person. And
hell yeah.
I pretended for a minute that I might pick something else, but.
No, yeah. So you're going to be a scholar. Love that. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm between the Wuxia and the outlaw. And I think I'm leaning more towards Wuxia.
I think you'd like Wuxia.
Pure weapon. I want my character
to
be like the center of attention in combat.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, then you'd want to be the Wuxia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we have our classes. So we've got your character name and pronouns. We've got your class.
What about you? What's your character
I'm going to pick
name?
an outlaw.
I love it.
That way we have all 3.
I love it.
Got all 3 bases
got
covered.
all 3.
Absolutely.
Now we have, we could go through the middle of your character sheet and we could do your character's drive.
Okay.
So your character's drive is going to be purely narrative. This is like a strong inner motivation or a passion or a desire. In the core rulebook, I have a table of like sample ones that people can use. Things like, My drive is to defeat a famous fighter in a duel to earn my beloved's hand in marriage. Or I'm a scholar and I want to obtain a rare herb to cure an ailing loved one. Or, I want to reclaim a powerful martial arts manual that was stolen from my temple. So the drive is something that is unique to your character. There is a checkbox next to it because once per session, you can actually turn a failed roll into a success by tapping into your drive.
Oh.
Kind of like, I've got to do this. And you have to kind of like tap into like, okay, well, if it's like, I need to bring my master's killer to justice.
Yeah.
I can't fail this check. I have to succeed. Yes. And you can do that once a session. And to go with that drive underneath it is actually a keepsake. And the keepsake is purely for like role play purposes. This is an item that you carry on your character to maybe remind them of the drive or maybe something separate. I've had folks who carry like their keepsake is like pieces of like a broken sword. Think of like, Aragorn.
Yeah,
in the books, Aragorn carried like the shards of Narsil. Maybe that's, and they later get reforged. But like maybe you carry the shards of a broken sword, or maybe you used to be a soldier and you're carrying a badge of your former military rank.
Okay.
Or, maybe it's a collection of poems. For the detective, maybe it's, a magnifying lens.
I was going to say, I want it to be a broken magnifying glass.
Yeah, maybe a broken lens. Or
nice.
Maybe if you're an experienced detective, or maybe you're a junior detective, maybe it's actually the case file for your master and it's an unsolved case.
Nice.
I think I want to have like almost uncovered some kind of corruption and then I got fired. And then now I'm like, no, I'm going to solve it anyway.
Ooh, so that means if you uncovered corruption, your past life, you probably worked within the court.
Right.
So it could be a badge of your rank.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that. It could be you have like a clue, and it could be something vague. It could be like you got caught and all you were able to take was this scrap of unique fabric or a piece of a flag or
I think it's half of a letter.
Half of a letter that maybe was burnt
nice.
or something, and you were able to save half of it. Or it was torn in half and maybe you're looking for the other half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So your keepsake can align with your drive if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fully specify right now. I'm just going to put my drive is solve the case.
Yeah. So I think for my drive, I'm searching for like a lost family song.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Something from ages ago that I know it exists and it's important to like the history of my family and maybe the area, but like nobody remembers it. But, I've got direction of where I might be able to start looking.
You said a song, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like this like earworm. This thing that you know, but you're like, I don't know the name of it, or I don't know like what it's called.
Like maybe the tune
Yeah.
is something that people have heard, but like the lyrics are what is the stuff that's lost. That's the important part, that like I need to get the lyrics to this song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like this fighty type character, but you've got this sort of like very, very personal familial drive that connects you to your past.
Yeah.
And maybe as like your character has gotten older, you started to forget the tune. And so there's this sense of urgency.
I need to get this before I lose everything. Yeah.
And this actually ties into the next thing, which is your connection.
Oh, yeah.
So the connection is something that ties the characters together. So in this case, it could be that, you're searching for this song and you've heard word of a detective who used to be in the courts. And that's Amelia's character. And that could be what your connection is to them. But Amelia's connection to you could be completely different.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's very cool. Okay. So I think for my keepsake, I want like an ancient tuning whistle.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I imagine like before combat, just that piercing pitch, like from the shadows, would be unnerving to people that know what it means.
I love that.
Oh, I love that. I think that's super cool.
It's actually the world's creepiest bird call.
Uh-huh.
That's super cool. And again, all your drive and your keepsake are all kind of tied to your name of Singing Edge.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think I'm going to add Singing Edge into the book.
Oh, nice.
I think I'm going to add Feng Yao. Feng Yao, the name is actually in the book as well already. So you get to lay claim to this character. Which is actually really good.
That's awesome.
So what are we thinking about connections?
Well, what is your drive in Keepsake?
Oh, my character's drive is similar to yours. Actually, it's like I've tasted. I'm chasing this meal. Like as a child, I've had this roasted lamb, and nothing has ever tasted like that one meal.
Yeah.
So this is my character's drive to just travel around.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like my character, whenever I go to town, that's the first thing I do. Mm-hmm. Get a meal, and I try to see if that's it. And maybe my character has some sort of amnesia, or was really young when they tried that meal, so they don't have a lot of details on it. They can just describe how it tasted.
Are you trying to recreate it? Like, so
you
have to discover what ingredients are in there and all of that.
Yeah, and I'm looking for ingredients.
You've got a little notebook where you're writing it down. You're like, this is close, but not quite.
Yeah, like maybe I've got a notebook, and I think my keepsake was like a pouch full of spices.
Yeah. I love
that I've been collecting, and it's like maybe it's like a marinade or a seasoning that I've slowly been perfecting, and I'm slowly adding to it and trying it out. So it's like constantly changing over time.
Oh, that's
make
interesting.
The perfect spice blend.
Exactly. And it's like it's a work in progress that I carry around my neck all the time. Because I don't want to open a restaurant. This is just for me. And I think my character's story would end when they've had that final meal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, everyone's searching for something.
And I think my connection, I feel like it might make sense that my connection is to Feng Yao because you're the detective. Like maybe you've got connections, and
maybe my letter has the recipe in it, and if we find the other half.
Maybe. Or your letter maybe mentions the name of somebody who is maybe tied to a dish that I'm currently searching for.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing here is that like none of us need to have an intimate understanding of like historical China.
No.
Yeah.
Or a wuxia setting or a campaign setting to really make characters that feel like they are from a wuxia movie or
it's all vibes.
Comic. It's vibes, exactly.
It's very vibes, yeah. And honestly, this could take place in pretty much any time period at this point.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right?
Totally. Right. And as long as you have like Twilight of the Warriors, which is set in the 80s, it's still a wuxia movie. Or you could have this set in like the early 20th century, with folks wearing like really dope like 1920s suits, but with swords.
Yeah.
Like totally possible. So what are we thinking for connections?
Yeah. I need to connect with somebody here.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be to everyone. And while we do that, I'm gonna share. I'm looking for it right now. I'm gonna share an image with you folks from a movie that I'm very excited about that has a lot of cool wuxia themes.
Ryan, I feel like is someone in your family maybe involved in some cool corruption stuff that I can solve?
Probably. Yeah. My guess would be that very likely there's some underhanded stuff in my family.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, if you have multiple player characters, again, like you don't have to be connected to everybody.
Yeah.
But the connections kind of serve as just like a way to help facilitate it, sort of like character drama or character like role play.
It's to help solve that meeting in a tavern situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wonder, because like I'm gonna think that like Singing Edge believes that her family has connections to like ancient courts, like
it could be like a former dynasty that was then overthrown. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so I'm like, well, the courts might be a good way in, but I know somebody that used to be in the courts as a detective, and maybe that's my way in through Feng Yao. Right?
Maybe you heard of Feng Yao's master.
Your family should have been like ruling the country, and then somebody killed somebody off or something. I don't know. I feel like there's a
this is very much like Aragorn. It's like, you should be in charge.
Yeah.
I do like that that
actually
trope as well.
You should be ruling the country, singing Edge.
Yeah, like the hidden princess.
Yeah, you are the secret
right?
princess that I'm searching for. Probably.
Yeah. What if that was the scandal that you're trying to uncover?
So that's what's partly in this letter is something about there being an heir that people didn't know about.
Oh.
And it could be as simple as like you could have your parents or something could be the result of like an affair or something, and you don't even know that you could lay claim to the throne, or if you and we should say if you want it.
I like the thought of like I am legitimate heir, but because of the danger from the swap over or whatever, like I was hidden away with a regular family, like in a countryside somewhere.
Yeah, there was this,
and it's actually a secret family recipe. Of yours.
And the song that I'm trying to remember that I only know the tune of was sung to me as a baby.
Oh, I like that.
And it maybe mentions
the
names.
An old lullaby.
It mentions the names of all of the herbs.
Oh, maybe it's a code.
Yeah.
It could be a code.
It could be. I like this.
There we go. And but these are all things that the GM can use to tell further stories.
Yeah.
There's this really good movie that I recommend called The Assassin. It came out in 2015, and it's about this master like blade wielder, and she's basically assigned to go on this assassination mission to kill this like corrupt like government official, and she shows mercy and doesn't kill him. And she gets punished by basically being sent to like a border province to kill its governor. Unfortunately, the governor, she was actually once betrothed to him when they were kids. And there's like the drama of that. It's like, it's a very good movie. Again, all vibes.
I keep pushing for a vibes category for the Ennies, and they keep telling me no.
I'm not opposed to a vibes category.
Sometimes I just don't know. I read stuff and I'm like, this is really good. And they're like, what category? And I'm like, I like the vibes. I just like the vibes.
Good vibes.
Just like the Oscars needs to have is going to have a category for stunts now.
Long overdue.
I think that's going to happen. Long overdue.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't go to actors. It should go to stunt people.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't go to actors who do stunts. It should go to stunt people.
Yeah.
Anyways, so now that we've got like those 5 like fields, we have 3 underneath for reputation. So like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to create tools within the game to help players kind of role play. This is something that you can use if you want, or this is something that the GM can use, and it also interacts with some of the downtime rules. So your reputation basically represents your impact on the world around you. Right? So there are 3 reputation scores for the different parts of the world. So the first one is martial. So that's your reputation within the martial arts, secret societies, and criminal world. There's court. So that's your reputation within like the court, the government, the military, and the aristocratic worlds. And then there's common, and that's your reputation among ordinary people.
Okay.
And so when you're making your character, you get to assign the following values, 2, 3, or 4, in any order you'd like. 2 being unfriendly, 3 being neutral, and 4 being friendly. So if you were to say go drinking with bandits, one of the things we could do is look at your reputation with martial to see how well that goes. Or if you are you're walking down the road and you encounter maybe a group of soldiers and you have a reputation of 1 with the court, maybe they recognize you.
Yeah.
And the reputation scores are fluid, and they change based on what happens in the narrative.
Oh, okay. So I think I'm gonna go a 3 for martial.
Okay.
Because just pretty neutral right there.
Interesting.
Definitely a 2 for court.
Okay.
Because I think the court would be actively antagonistic towards me.
Right.
Yeah, maybe there's there's poorly drawn bounty posters of you.
Yeah.
Like wanted posters.
Yeah, and then 4 for common, since that's where my character's from and who I fight for, effectively.
Yeah, like a Robin Hood type character, like a folk hero.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm debating because I feel like I'm obviously trying to like uncover. I did change my drive to be find the air. Because that felt after our discussion.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
So I'm debating, like, I feel like my court should be a 2 because people don't want that. But also maybe it's a 3 because maybe I'm like doing it quietly because I'm like, I know that if I tell
maybe
anybody,
maybe it's a 2 for court because of the circumstances under which you actually left the court.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is also a way of sort of quantifying elements of your backstory.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think I have any martial ability whatsoever.
It's not ability, it's your reputation.
Right.
So you could help out martial artists and
Fair.
that would impact your reputation.
Fair.
Maybe you help martial artists find others.
True.
Or
okay, so maybe I'll put
don't limit yourself.
Yeah. I just decide which one is 4 and which one's 3. I'm gonna put 4 as martial and I'm gonna say 3 as common because I think I just don't know a lot of common people. I know the court doesn't like me, but doesn't mean I know the commoners.
Yeah, maybe you're more of a reclusive detective, and only the people who know of you will find you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now that we've done that, we've got our character details. Oh, mine really straightforward. I keep forgetting that I'm also doing one. Mine, because I'm an outlaw, my highest one is in martial. I'm neutral with common, so I'm a 3 in common, and I'm a 2 with the court. I think mine are like identical to yours, Ryan.
Yeah, we all seem to have. You're kind of backward. I mean, I'm 3-2-4. You're 4-2-3.
I'm also 4-2-3.
So like,
So really, we're doing bad in polite society.
That whole court thing, but like that's lining up with all of our stories so far, which is really fantastic.
Yeah. So that again reinforces why we're together. So now we're gonna do our attributes. So this is where we're gonna roll some dice.
I love dice.
So we have 4 attributes. We have strength, which is your physical power, agility, which is your like quickness and coordination. Focus is like your mental fortitude, your discipline, your determination, your perceptiveness, and then intellect is your knowledge of the world and problem solving.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll 4 d6s, and we're gonna just assign those values in any order we'd like to our attributes.
Right.
Oh,
good.
So if you want to have a character who uses a lot of martial arts techniques, I would want my highest value to be in focus.
okay.
If I want to be good at problem solving, I'd want intellect. If I want to be good at fighting, I might want to have strength or agility.
Okay.
Let's find out.
So we do 4 d6s.
Ooh.
I hope we roll better than we did at Shadow Dark.
Yeah, seriously. I'm already doing pretty decently.
I think between us, we had 1 positive attribute score.
I rolled well. I got 5, 6, 5, 3.
Oh, wow. Oh, no. Did you roll bad?
1, 3, 4.
Oh,
hey,
no.
you know what? That makes your character interesting.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did say that I was not good at fighting, didn't I?
Yeah.
But I'm also apparently
I got
not.
6-4-4-2.
6-4-4-2 is good. I would. My recommendation for your class is Ryan is to put your 6 in either it's probably your agility with the way you described your singing edge. I'd put a 4 in focus, 2 in maybe intellect,
Yeah.
and then your 4 in strength.
That's what I was thinking as well.
And then Amelia, you definitely want to put your highest one in intellect. It also lines up with like your character. Your character's like very, very brilliant. But you've got these 2 other characters who are really good at fighting with you.
Yeah. So I was thinking like I'll do my 4 in intellect, my 3 in focus, and then agility and strength will be 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And again, these are representing our characters. So under each of these attributes is a derived sort of attribute. So under strength, there's carrying capacity. That's how much your character can carry. This impacts mechanics for exploration. Like if your character is carrying too much, it'll be slower to travel and things like that. So your carrying capacity total is just 10 plus your strength. So if I have a 5 strength, I have a 15 carrying capacity.
The lowest possible.
Hey, maybe you have like a mule or something that carries stuff for
Maybe I
you.
have really strong
horse.
friends.
Yeah, or that. Underneath agility is your dodge. So dodge is going to be how hard it is to hit you. So again, that's
Not
your
that
agility
hard.
plus 10.
The answer is not that hard.
Don't worry, there are mechanisms to help
I
you
will
in this
be
game, though.
staying home.
Yeah.
I'll be the character encouraging we don't fight, please.
Exactly, right? Because you can, or
Everyone use your words.
you could do that, or you could be like, okay, here's this strategy. We're not going to fight. We're going to sneak up on them and kill them in their sleep or something.
Yeah. I'm very much like,
so
let's
you
make a
also have-
tactical plan. And I feel like Ryan is like, let's rush in.
Yeah. And so you have chi points now. Now, your chi points are not equal to your focus plus 10. It actually is based on your class. So if you're a Yosha, your starting chi points are actually your focus plus 2. If you are an outlaw like me, it's actually my focus plus 1. And if you are a detective, it's just equal to your focus because you don't actually have to use chi.
I have 3.
So you've got 3 total. 3 is actually a fair amount. You could do a lot with 3. And throughout the course of play, you may gain more. There are certain things you can do, like you can go and like meditate, go like sit in like a hot spring, and you can actually gain temporary chi points to help you out.
Yeah, I've got 6 to start.
6 is solid. I've got 7 because I put focus as my highest. I got a 6.
Show off.
Over here telling me that 3 is good and you've got 7.
But I think my character would be less interesting. I actually really like characters who find themselves in danger more often.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's just, I think it just makes for a better story.
Yeah.
And the last one is exploration speed, and that's your strength plus 10. However, when you're traveling with a group, you travel at the slowest character's pace. So nobody's going to get left behind. And things like horses can change that.
You said it's what? Strength plus 10?
Strength plus 10, yeah.
So I would like everyone to know we're not going that fast because it's 11.
But maybe we're not going that fast because you are very perceptive and you walk slower because you are catching little details that we aren't.
Yeah. You're like, we've got places to go. And I'm like,
I see danger.
I'm like, let's plan on our walk.
Exactly. Next thing we have are hit points. So hit points are a little bit different in this game. You'll notice that you have both hit points and wounds. I want you to think of hit points not as necessarily your character's health, but a measure of your ability to withstand or avoid serious injury.
Okay.
Sure.
It's your wherewithal.
It's kind of your wherewithal. And once your hit points are gone, you then start to take wounds.
Okay.
So when your hit points are at 0 or you take damage beyond your hit points, the excess goes to your wounds. Every 5 wounds, you receive like a condition, something debilitating that kind of fits within the narrative. And if you hit 15 wounds, you die. So functionally, everybody can take the same amount of lethal damage, but it's the buffer to the starting of lethal damage.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So Yoshas start with 10 at level 1 for hit points. Outlaws start at 8. And scholars, which is the detective, start at 6.
I was like, what low number are you going to get? Look, I'm really determined. Okay. I've got.
Yeah. And there are things that we can kind of start with.
Even if I don't have the stats. Okay.
I've got some cool stuff that I think would be good for your character.
I am already seeing this play out in my head, and it's a fantastic movie premise already.
Yeah.
Right. And this is an escort mission. We're traveling with this detective who is the one who navigates and knows the world, and we're just getting into trouble.
I mean, and I think we've also determined that like I've sort of been hiding from the court for a while too. So like I'm not really used to being out and about all that much. So this is
totally. And if you were somebody who was operating within the court, you weren't thinking about like lifting weights or like getting all jacked.
No, I wasn't doing a lot of strength training or building up my stamina.
You're building up your mind.
Right. I'm like, I could run a mile in 11 minutes if I had to.
I was like, how much 11 minutes seems fast for me right now.
Exactly.
Personally.
If I had to, I would also incur many, many wounds and die at the end. Just want to be clear.
Yeah, I'm talking about myself in real life. I would definitely die.
Oh, yeah. No. An 11-minute mile. Gosh, 15 maybe.
Next thing we do is we need to pick equipment.
Right.
So there are each starting class, to make things like smooth and fast, each starting class gets a starting kit. So I'll send those into our chats. So the Yosha gets an adventurer's set, which contains a whole bunch of like items that they could use. The detective or scholar in this case will get what is a scholar's set. And there's a ton of stuff in the scholar's set. The scholar's set has a lot of the things that you would need to kind of help yourself kind of like navigate the world.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And so there are options. So you get a set, but then you also get starting coin. So for folks who want to kind of just go and like buy things and then budget, they can do that. But for folks who just are doing a one shot, what I always say is disregard that procedure and just pick what you think is cool. And so what we're going to do is, now that we have our sort of starting equipment, we're going to pick some weapons for ourselves. We're going to pick some weapons and armor. This game doesn't have anything around like proficiency. So you're not going to be like, well, I can only use these weapons. No, you could use any weapon. So in the quick start guide that I sent you, on page 15 are some weapons. I have also added more in the core rulebook, but there's some examples of weapons on page 15 of the quick start for you folks. And if you have any questions about what they are, happy to answer. Or if something's not there, I can always send you the details from the core rulebook on what weapons.
Yeah, I want it like an iconic sword.
Oh, you probably want a jian. So that's like the Chinese straight sword. Those like, they're kind of flexible in some movies that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, especially the flexibility is I've learned to be able to vibrate it in certain ways where it will sing as I use it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that my character, like I use like a cleaver. So I might reskin the Dao. The Dao is like the Chinese saber, like the big chopping saber. And I'm going to probably use that and just call it my cleaver. Or maybe I took my old saber and I cut it down and turned it into a cleaver. It's like a cleaver with a sword handle. Yeah. That'd be cool, actually. Amelia, what were you thinking for your character's weapons? You're like a detective.
Yeah. I'm honestly thinking staff.
Like a staff? Yeah. I was also maybe going to suggest like a bow or something like that. One thing about this game is that when you're in combat, you can use either your strength or your agility, regardless of the weapon.
So it doesn't.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're pretty even.
Yeah.
You're pretty even.
Those are both bad, and my goal is to, well.
Those aren't bad. They're interesting.
True. True.
They're interesting. A staff is a good one. Yeah. I like staff because the staff has a special feature called bludgeon on it. And the special features are on page 17. And bludgeon allows you to basically deal maximum damage on a crit, but also imparting a condition on somebody. So you can like stun them and prevent them from attacking the next turn, or you could trip them and knock them prone, whatever you think would kind of work in the narrative.
Yeah. I also feel like a staff very much feels like it is a weapon that you could learn to use and use beautifully, but also literally anyone can pick it up and beat somebody over the head with it. And
it's also incognito. So if you're hiding, it's like, it's just a walking stick.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is like, we're going to be traveling. And it also very much feels like like I could sneak up behind somebody and,
Yeah.
I had a player who had a spear, but narrative, like the person who played Blazing Spear, their spearhead was like a wavy spearhead. But it was like really iconic. So in the story, they actually took the spearhead off and kind of kept it as like a dagger and only used it when they needed to. And so they fought with a staff.
That's so cool.
Until they wanted to like reveal their identity. And think grab multiple weapons if you think your character might be carrying them. I feel like I love like darts or needles or daggers. So my character is definitely going to have a cleaver. I think my character is only going to have knives, nothing like big, just knives.
Okay. I like that. I know for my character, for the Yusha, we get the signature weapon as well.
Yes. So
Which
the signature
means-
weapon lets you deal damage a step higher. So your
Yeah.
gen, instead of a D6, would actually be a D8.
Exactly. So I think I've got this special GN that has like almost like a unique sort of aesthetic to it. Maybe it's like a family blade or something like that. So that's the one that would be kind of like a step up, I imagine. I imagine it's not like every GN that I pick up is going to be a step higher, or
No, it's just this one particular
this
gen.
one. Yeah, exactly. So I think I have a GN for the signature weapon, that unique looking one.
Mhm.
But I think I would dual wield with
Ooh,
another.
yeah, you could
another
dual wield
GN.
with another Jan. Yeah, 100%. The
Yeah.
rules for dual wielding in this game are actually really simple. Anybody can dual wield as long as they're one-handed weapons.
Mhm.
And when you attack, you roll the damage for both weapons, and you just pick whichever one is higher.
Oh, cool.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, I've had some folks message me and say, like, I love Wandering Blades, but my group only plays D&D. I'm just going to steal your dual wielding rules and use it for D&D because it's simpler.
It's so
and it
much
makes sense.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, just roll the damage for both and pick whatever's higher.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have two gen, one is a D6 and one is a D8, and maybe on the D6 rolls higher than the D8, and you end up hitting with that one.
That's cool. I like that a lot.
Again, it kind of all aligns with that like time to violence. Like I want to speed things up and I want to make things dynamic rather than slowing down the flow of combat. I don't want you to have to be like, okay, well, I have to roll this and this is the penalty and then this.
Yeah.
No, just roll damage, pick the highest one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have weapons, and then you also have armor. So if you want armor, you can have armor. Unfortunately, some suits of armor aren't possible for Feng Yao because your strength isn't high enough. There is an note there. It says strength score in the quick start. I'm just changing that to strength within the core rulebook to speed things up.
Okay.
So you need to have a strength of 3 to wear medium and a strength of 4 to wear heavy. Armor functions very differently in this game because you notice that you have a dodge and you have armor.
Yeah.
Unlike games like Dungeons and Dragons that have like an armor class, I personally like that your ability to avoid blows isn't impacted by your armor per se. So each armor has a damage reduction value. So for instance, light armor, which any character can wear, has a damage reduction of 1, which means that any incoming attacks, the damage die are 1 step lower. So if you're going to get hit with a shot and it gets past your dodge and it's a D6, well, if I'm wearing light armor, it's actually D4.
Cool.
And there are weapons that let you bypass that. So for instance, like piercing, weapons with piercing actually ignore a certain amount of damage reduction.
Mm-mm. I mean, I probably should have some
All
light
right.
armor.
Light armor is very good. I also recommend like a shield if you want. I'm going to have a shield for my character, and the shield's actually going to be like a walk. Like it's going to be like a walk.
That is so cool.
The shields don't have a damage reduction, but they have something called guard. So a light shield has a guard of 1 and a medium shield has a guard of 3. And basically what it does is it basically says, as a reaction in combat, I can basically just use my shield to negate damage.
Oh, okay.
But I can do it a certain number of times before my shield is expended. And that just basically represents you stepping in and just blocking a blow outright. So you could get a shield and you could kind of make it work narratively for you too.
I don't think that I would. I do not think
Yeah,
I am
then-
that prepared for what's about to happen.
I also think though that your staff allows you to keep enemies at bay. Somebody with like
Yeah.
a dagger might not be able to get close to you.
Yeah.
Because the staff has a range of mid-range,
Mhm.
which is like the range of a reach weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had mentioned earlier, wuxia cinema is very dynamic combat. People are like flying around a room. And so ranges are described in this game as engagement zones, so like close, mid, and long. And they're all relative to your target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the staff is a mid-range weapon, which means that, it makes sense. You would use it to keep people at bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once we've kind of got weapons, we've got armor, you can also add like general equipment. You've got a flame stick. I might add is kind of like a Chinese lighter. It's actually a really cool thing I learned about when I was making this game. I'll send you a picture of what a flame stick looks like. But they're kind of like reusable pocket torches. They kind of leave like an ember in there, and when you uncap it and blow on it, it will like ignite.
That's interesting.
It's very cool. It's like a real thing.
Yeah.
So your characters already have some of this stuff on them with their like adventurers set or their scholars set. Everybody has stuff like that. But if you want, you could add things like incendiary oil. Like maybe I want to like ignite my weapon with fire. Or maybe I want like a bomb to stun people. Or a firecracker. Actually, a firecracker might be cool for the detective to get you out of trouble.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Look over there.
Well, like, you're smart. Maybe you put together like firecrackers and these thunderclap bombs that you could use to kind of get you out of binds.
How many coins do we?
We're making characters. I don't want to limit you by coins, but we're doing it for funsies. But I will say that the scholar class starts with 250 coins.
Oh, okay. So I'm fine.
They are the richest class.
You're
you are fine.
You're fine.
Like, that's the thing, to balance things out.
Whatever you want.
You could have an arsenal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know how to use it, but I could have it.
Well, you could throw a bomb. Your characters are smart.
Not
right?
very far because I'm not very strong, but I can.
Yeah.
My concern would be I would need to throw it, and then I would have to run the other direction because I couldn't throw it far enough to really put myself
your characters,
out of danger.
Despite only having a 1 strength, your characters are stronger than the common person.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right? Just think of all these numbers represent how above average your characters are.
I'm getting a grappling hook.
Love that for you.
Because I love to be dramatic. And I want to be able to get up high,
swing
and
in,
be above everybody, and swing into dramatic fashion. Absolutely,
I love that. The outlaw starts with a grappling hook, so I don't have to get one of those. But I might want to add like incendiary oil because I think my character would pretend it's cooking oil.
Yes.
Oh yeah, very nice.
And once we've got all of our sort of like our character's equipment and stuff, it's now time to basically get techniques and class features. So this is where we can kind of like be creative. Ryan, you'll want to go to the Yosha section of the quick start. The scholar is actually not in the quick start. It's a core rulebook class, but I'm going to walk you through it, Amelia. Okay. Ryan, you already mentioned your signature weapon as one of your class features.
Yeah.
You also get to pick a martial arts sect. And your martial arts sect basically determines the style of fighting. So in the core rulebook, there are 4 different sects. There's the Mountain Orchid, the Vagabond, the Iron Mountain, and the Floating Lotus. The Mountain Orchid is all about swords. Okay. The Vagabonds are all about sort of like more like roguish style of combat. Iron Mountain is basically if you want to be that tank and you want to use big blows. And the Floating Lotus is all about being very difficult to hit and being nimble.
Oh, okay. So I'd be between the orchid and the lotus.
Yeah, the two with flower names. Each one, I'm shocked.
I know, right?
And they both have their own unique sect ability that represents the unique martial arts style that you learned.
Yeah.
So Mountain Orchid is all about you get to move. Once during a combat encounter, you can make a free move action, which kind of goes with the whole grappling hook thing. I want to get up high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Floating Lotus lets you change your combat stance in the middle of combat for free, which is also very powerful if you're kind of in the middle of the fight. You could switch from being defensive, kind of like we mentioned Ghost of Tsushima, where you could have your different stances based on the kind of person you're fighting. It lets you do that for free.
I think I'll go with that second one.
Yeah, I was going to say
the Floating Lotus.
Yeah, Floating Lotus.
It sounds like prettier.
And so to make a Yosha, you get to pick your martial arts techniques to start. So on page 8, you get to pick 2 of those general techniques and 1 of your Floating Lotus techniques to start.
Ooh.
And each one has like a cost, right? And that's the chi points. Now for the outlaw, I actually get to pick whether or not I want to be more of a rogue-ish type or maybe more of a merchant or a thief.
Mm-hmm.
And for the scholar, which is the brand new class that Amelia is playing, you get a couple of cool things. Your character gets an ability called Insights, So basically, this allows you to take spare moments to make observations about the scene.
Oh, cool.
So you get 3 insights at level 1. And when you make an insight, you declare it and you roll a d6 and we compare it against a table. 1 basically will lead to a misinterpretation of a lead or a false assumption. And a 6 results in like a deep understanding of a subject or possible connections to a broader mystery.
Cool.
You will always gain something out of an insight. As a detective, you actually get something really cool because the detective is really good at manipulating people. You get a faction affiliation. So as a detective scholar, scholar is either detective or physician. As a detective, you get to be affiliated with a faction. So you get to increase one of your reputation scores by 1. So you could start with one of them at a 5. And a 5 reputation is very powerful in this game because it's what's going to help you get around problems.
Mm.
So, yeah.
So right now my 4 is in martial.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, if you had a 5 in martial, you would basically go from them being friendly to you being favored by the martial arts community.
Ooh.
So for context, if you have a 4 in your reputation, NPCs or factions are going to be welcoming and cooperative.
Uh-huh.
And they may even assist you without requesting compensation immediately. But if you're favored, they will actively seek to help you and offer you valuable support and information. So you could go into a town and be like, hey, these people are chasing us. And you could basically get the town martial arts school to fight for you.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and make that a 5.
Right. And so this is where that role play kind of comes in with that.
Because I really like
the
idea that like I have an incredible scholarly understanding of all of these like types of martial arts and things like that. I cannot do them. I am so deeply uncoordinated. But I understand the history and I understand how it should work.
And that actually leads into your 2 other abilities, which I'll send you a screenshot. You have an ability called Combat Strategist. And I had this exact idea of like, oh, I'm a detective and I'm kind of a nerd about martial arts. And I could spot different techniques and I could spot weaknesses and you could point things out. So you get to actually give your allies bonuses in combat equal to your intellect by pointing out strategic things.
I love that.
Nice.
Or the detective is the only class that actually is able to get NPC details. So you could basically go and be like, hey, GM, how much HP did this guy have? Or what kind of martial arts techniques do they have? And I'll reveal it to you and they can kind of come out of the narrative. It could be like, oh, I recognize this footwork and I know that they have this kind of technique. So they're going to maybe try to create space with us. You know, hey, like Singing Edge, they've got a technique that's all about they need space to operate. You got to run in there.
Yeah.
And then they won't be able to use that.
That's so cool.
And then you get a case file. So I really love clocks from like Forged in the Dark games. And you get a case file that essentially helps you solve like a core mystery. But when this case file is complete, when these clocks are all filled, you get to declare a breakthrough and reveal a truth within the narrative.
Nice.
Which is very, very powerful. So it further encourages that sort of collaboration between the GM and the player.
Yeah.
But the detective gets to force truths because you can't be a detective if you can't be the ones to come up with the breakthrough. Yeah. So it gives you far more agency over the story.
Okay. So I've got my 3.
Okay. Which ones did you pick?
I'm really excited about these. Okay. So for the general techniques, I chose misdirect and strike. For 1 chi point, it's a reactive thing where I can distract an opponent before striking them from an unexpected angle. And after resolving the attack, the next attack actions made by your allies this round are amplified, which I believe is +5 to their roll.
Correct.
And they may be rolled with intellect,
which is Amelia's best attribute.
Yeah.
So it makes Amelia very good in combat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I won't die.
I know.
And that's where synergies come into play. So I want to actually mention amplified. So in Dungeons and Dragons, people know of like advantage and disadvantage. You roll 2d20, pick the highest or pick the lowest. I wanted to, because this is very player forward in the combat, I wanted to remove that element of randomness because you could roll with advantage and still get 2 low results.
Yeah.
Right. Or you could roll with disadvantage and narratively you're not supposed to succeed. And then you could just roll double 20s. Right. So I wanted to eliminate the randomness while maintaining that sense of uncertainty. So in this game, there is basically amplified and hindered. Amplified is +5 and hindered is -5.
That makes
So I've
sense.
eliminated the randomness there, but maintained the uncertainty of the actual die roll.
That's very good.
And so you could distract somebody using misdirect and strike. And then Amelia's got, you said you have a 4 in intellect.
Yeah.
So Amelia could get a +9 on their character's next attack roll, which is huge in this game.
That's huge. That's amazing. Yeah. So that was my first one. My second one is Pinpoint Strike, which is 2 chi point. And I spend 2 actions to make 1 amplified attack roll with damage dice 1 step higher and a crit threshold of 16 to 20 on a natural roll.
Which is, again, huge.
It's huge. Like,
but it takes 2 of your chi points.
Right. And that's fine because, like, okay, if I'm dual wielding, does that step up both of my dice and I take the better? Or is it just my D8 turns to a D10, which is also huge?
It's whatever the table thinks is going to be the best.
Okay.
So in this game, I actually wrote an entire section on like best practices for playing the game.
Yeah.
And one of them is beautiful and meaningful violence. So I wrote, in combat, let the players feel stylish in how they dispatch their foes, ensure that every fight is compelling and cinematic. And I want GMs to encourage players to kind of capture momentum and press the advantage.
Yeah.
So I think that this would be cool. And therefore, both die should be stepped up.
Yeah. And then with that 16 to 20 crit threshold, from what I have seen, a crit is max damage plus, for me on my signature weapon, plus another die roll.
Correct.
So it'd be max damage plus a D10 if I...
Do the rest of us even need to be there?
But here's the thing, though. When we talk about combat, you're going to see where this doesn't feel as overpowered as you think.
No, I'm sure that it doesn't.
Because there is always this dance. I always have the opportunity to parry, block, counterattack.
Yeah.
Or if I have a shield, completely nullify damage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you're thinking correctly. You're thinking about like, oh, how can I like use my abilities to help my allies? How can we work off of each other's abilities? Because one of the things I hate most about some tabletop RPG combat is that like I'm just kind of waiting to do my thing.
It is the one moment
to do your own thing.
It is the one time in a game where it like in so many, it stops being collaborative. Everything screeches to a halt, and now we take turns. And I hate it.
But in combat, you're encouraged to work around each other.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Is like now, like I have that combat strategist thing, so it's like I can help what everyone else is doing. Ryan has things where I can get bonuses so that I could actually potentially injure someone, which was not going to happen before, but now it could.
Absolutely.
Or like maybe now, if you know that Ryan is going to use this big attack, you could use one of your abilities to give Ryan another bonus.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that'd be huge.
To guarantee that it's going to hit. Right. But the thing we're seeing here is we're using our actions, we're using our chi, and if we have a fight that goes on for a really long time, and we end up with no chi, the next time we get into a fight, it's very dangerous.
Oh yeah,
right. And so players have to be very careful about picking fights because if you go into a fight with fewer resources, it could be against a very, very dangerous enemy.
Oh yeah. Because anybody can be dangerous in this sort of genre.
Exactly. So that's kind of an artificial way of ensuring that you just don't go around murdering everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Yeah, and my last is my Floating Lotus Sect technique of redirect energy, which I really love this one. For 1 chi point, I can have it so when an opponent misses me with a melee attack action, I can have them cause to reroll the attack against another target adjacent to me. So I could have them stab their friend.
Oh, so you could like basically sidestep so that they end up stabbing their own person. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Or what if you could, there are other abilities that make your enemies' attacks hindered. What if you redirected their attack into one of your allies, so your ally could counterattack and get a free attack in.
Oh, yeah.
You can even redirect it to an ally if you can guarantee that that attack isn't going to hit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the ally could use that opportunity to counterattack.
Absolutely.
And this kind of cinematic combat is all built into the system. So there is
Yeah,
no
that's
sort of
really
like
cool.
fudging of rules. It just works that
I
way.
love that
That's
so
really
much.
cool.
Oh, I can see how this would be so fun to like to sit at a table. Like I love that feeling, and I think we talked about it when we were talking about Nova, maybe. But that like when your player abilities bounce off of each other and you get to a point where you're all sitting around the table and you're like, okay, if you do this, my thing will stack on top of that. And then we can, which is exactly how it feels when you're watching one of those kinds of fight scenes in a movie where it's like, okay, and then, I watch this guy jump over here and so that this guy can get underneath him. And that like, it's how it feels watching it too. So like the idea of being able to do that at the table, like, okay, quick, I'll step over here and use this one so that you get the extra attack so that you get to it's so cool.
And you're going to see how this works out when we kind of talk about the flow of combat in this game as well.
Oh,
Absolutely.
But it's your show. I'll let you lead. But our characters are actually done now. You've made your characters. They're complete.
Oh my gosh.
Character creation is very fast.
Yeah.
That's very
I love
good.
how much we got out of that little bit though. Like,
Yeah.
that it was like we're filling in like 6 or 8 boxes or whatever. I mean, it's more than that, I guess. But like we have like a full story set up that we're like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find the secret recipe. We're gonna install the secret princess. We're gonna
And you even have like an idea of how you folks fight together. Our characters fight together too.
Yeah.
Right. My character, I went for a brutal character. My character has, I went for, the outlaw gets to pick talents that they can either be trained, expert, or master in, and they give you extra things. So I went with brutality, which gives my checks related to intimidation, interrogation, or brawn amplification.
Yes.
Oh.
And then I ended up also going for shadow economics. So I also have amplified checks when I'm trying to discern lies or I'm bartering.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Which makes sense for my character.
Yeah.
The outlaw only gets one technique. And so I picked one that I think works with the narrative of my character. And my technique is called Show of Force. And when I kill an enemy, I make a display of brutality and I force a morale check on the remaining enemies.
Oh, yeah.
So I can so there's a morale system within the game where combat doesn't end only if you kill everybody.
Yeah.
I can actually force combat to end, which can be extremely valuable, especially if we're like worn down or we're like, we're running out of like, we don't have any more hit points and we're taking wounds.
We're all out of chi. We're like,
so I'm going to brutally kill somebody, force a morale roll, and maybe the NPCs will actually surrender.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it.
So that's what I kind of went for, kind of like a support combat character.
I like that.
Like I've got a shield. I have a way of ending a fight from like the morale purposes. And I have a ton of chi and I feel like my character would just use the chi for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
really
just love the idea of like, I have this character that is like this like master strategist of like, okay, over here. And you're like, what if just so much violence?
What if I just rip this guy's throat out?
Like, what if I hit it as hard as I can, as many times as I can? Problem solved.
And one thing to note, even though you don't have martial arts techniques, Amelia, if you go to page 56 of the Quick Start, you have access to chi abilities.
Cool.
Because you do have chi.
I do.
So you could do things like you could spend 1 chi point and you can make an unarmed attack. And if it hits, you could push somebody 2 engagement zones away. So you could punch somebody through a wall.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Classic
so you
of the genre, really.
Classic of the genre, right?
Yeah.
So you have some like extra stuff, or like Deadly Strike. You could spend 1 chi point and you could reroll all damage on an attack action and keep the new total.
Oh, nice.
Really cool.
So you still, even though you have limited chi or no martial arts techniques, you still have ways of being extremely deadly.
Yeah.
The core rulebook also will have new items for martial arts manuals, which is also like, again, a trope of the genre. And so there are guides for creating custom martial arts techniques
Cool.
and naming them.
Yeah.
And techniques have things like you could find a technique called, one of them I wrote was Thundering Fist. And it's an unarmed technique where you channel a burst of chi at the moment of impact and you create a shockwave. And it bypasses all damage reduction and it forces people to make a focus save or be stunned. But in order to learn this technique, you actually have to spend 3 experience and spend 3 days studying.
Wow.
The technique. So when we talk about advancement, we'll learn that characters may actually progress at different rates.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Some people may level up their characters and get new techniques and stuff. Others may not level up and instead focus on maybe learning new martial arts techniques. So they might have less HP, but they might be deadlier.
Interesting.
That's really cool.
The glass cannon approach.
Yeah, you could totally build a glass cannon.
That's very
And
cool.
if you have a team to support you, a glass cannon build kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
I like
really
that a
cool.
lot. Yeah.
This is so much fun. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us for our Wandering Blades character creation episodes. This was a blast. I love these people.
So much
I'm
fun.
so excited. Yeah.
No, this is great.
Yeah. Do you want to remind people where they can find you online, where they can find the Kickstarter for this and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, totally. So you can find me online at Daniel H. Kwan. That's Daniel H. K-W-A-N. A-N. Oh my God, I forgot how to speak English for a second there. Daniel H. Kwan, Daniel H. K-W-A-N. And I'm on pretty much every social media platform. Some I am more active on than others. Yep. I am most active on Blue Sky now. So you can find me there. You can find Wandering Blades at wanderingblades.com. That should take you to the Kickstarter page.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Please join us on the next episodes for our discussion block. Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
First off, congratulations to Daniel and the team for a successful initial portion of the Kickstarter. I know there are plenty of stretch goals to go, including one that they're working towards, but we'll hear about that in a minute. But I love the characters that we made in this series. And I really enjoy the storytelling potential that this game has. It's definitely really embracing a lot of the ins and outs of the wuxia genre that you kind of see emulated a bit in some games, but this seems to kind of dial that genre violence and cool factor up to 11, which is really cool. I really want to try this game out and give it a whirl and see how it plays. It sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Kickstarter produces. Hopefully that we get to a lot more stretch goals. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But before we let you go for the day, we do have some calls to action. First up, about the Kickstarter, if you are enjoying what you are hearing in this series and want to get a copy of Wandering Blades for yourself, the Kickstarter fully funded within the first 48 hours of launching last week. It is currently working towards its first stretch goal to add 2 zine supplements to the game. One of them is a collection of short essays on the wuxia genre, and the other contains additional class options, wuxia-inspired adversaries and NPCs, and alternative rules adapting the Wandering Blade system to different genres. So you can head on over to wanderingblades.com and it will take you right where you need to go. In addition to all of that, we would love it if you checked out the C3 Patreon at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. If you are able to help us out, it would allow us to do more for the community and for the show itself. Once Amelia and I have a bit more free time sometime in July, we'll be able to devote our energies back into the show and make the Patreon even more worthwhile. but we could definitely use your help in the meantime. If we get to $160 a month, we will hire on somebody to do monthly web page updates to our site at charactercreationcast.com. This would be a 1 to 2 hour a month job to add information on the new games we cover, as well as add links to our episodes directly onto the web pages. This will help others find our show through searching for the games we cover, but also will be a great resource for fans of the show. If you want a character sheet for a game that we covered, you would be able to go there and find any of the publicly available materials or links to the places that you can find them on the respective sites. The sooner that we can get to that $160 level, the better, as this will only cover future series on the show. If we can get to $200 a month, we will also have this individual go back in time a bit and add in pages for all of the past series as well. It might take a while, but it would go a long way to enhancing the utility of our show for everyone in the community. And you know what? If we hit that $160 a month, I think I'm actually going to procure some one-time enamel pins for all of our campaign level backers that helped us get there. And if we get a good enough deal, we may even have extras on hand to send future campaign level backers. Right now, if we get 8 more campaign level patrons, that would get us past that $200 barrier. And that'll be 8 more folks that get some really great stuff, including new stickers for every month that you're a patron, a set of 3d6 C3 branded dice, a personalized thank you card from the both of us, handcrafted by Amelia herself, as well as many other perks. This is all for $10 a month and will go a long way toward helping provide a one-stop shop for any of the games that we cover on the show. If we get just 4 more campaign level patrons, that will get us to that $160 goal too. We also have tiers at the $5 and $1 levels that get you various perks as well. So you can head on over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast to get all of that info. In addition to all of that, we do like to thank our current patrons every episode. Your support truly helps out a great deal, so let's do that right now. Lieutenant DJG, aka Tigranosaurus, and Eric Bonds, thank you all so much. We appreciate your support, Daryl Holiday II, Shadim Cabal, and the Shyest Barbarian, thank you. Benjamin Sweeney, Rob Fletcher, and Kevin Brown, you shouldn't have, but we're so glad that you did. Tentacle Duck, John Adamus, and A3 Sketchpad, we can't thank you enough, but we'll keep on trying. Cole McCallum, Carlos Salazar, and Eric S., thanks for supporting our dreams. Ian Potmeyer, Liam G., and Brian Colm, thank you for your continued support. Garden GM, Tanglefoot, and Blue Kryptonite, we're happy to have you here with us. Thank you. Danny, Nicole Trainer, and Leah Murray, many thanks to all of you. Kenning, Brian Kurtz, and Marky Fair, we appreciate your support. Thank you. Many thanks to Drew Owen, Oz, and James McGinley. And finally, Sean Metcalf and Robert, we appreciate your support. Thank you. And thank you to all of our future patrons. If you want to join this phenomenal group of individuals, please head on over to patreon.com/charactercreationcast and help us out. We are getting very close to covering our operating expenses every month. And with more assistance, we will be able to make those website upgrades to make exploring your favorite games that much easier. And finally, if you want to join in the discussion with our hosts, some of our guests, and a bunch of fans, head on over to our Discord at discord.charactercreationcast.com. That's all that we have for today's episode. Join us here next week where we begin our discussion series for Wandering Blades with our guest, Daniel Kwan. Until then, take care everyone, stay safe, drink some water, and keep making those amazing people. We'll see you next time. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at CreationCast, or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can also be found in the show notes. If you'd like to support our show, find us on Patreon. Get access to bonus episodes, exclusive merch, and much more at patreon.com/charactercreationcast. Thanks for joining us. And remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We'll see you next time.